Good afternoon, everyone. I bought the Webbot report for July after seeing a little synopsis about flooding rivers from the sky. This is what happened. Phoenix, Arizona, the average rainfall. But look at that, is a river from the sky. Grozny, Russia, repeating the same thing. Queensland, Australia, captured on film the moments it descended from the sky. Texas, Oklahoma in the United States. 1,000-year rainstorm dumping 10 inches of rain in an hour in West Virginia. In Maryland, the river went from 6 feet to 24 feet in an hour and a half. The same thing's repeated in Typhoon Nida. You can see those atmospheric compression events happening. Previous weeks in China, over a foot of rain in the Yangtze River Valley. Atmospheric compression is here, and the Webbots called it on the money. I was intrigued by several videos I saw talking about the Webbot's analysis of the July 2016 report. It mentioned something about flooding and rivers from the sky, and I'd seen these weather anomalies several times before reporting on different parts of the world, so I bought the report. Lo and behold, rivers from the sky, Phoenix, Arizona, is a definite example of what this would be like. This is the regular rainfall across Arizona when they have a heavy storm. Another example of what's considered a heavy storm, and then we get something like this, literally a river pouring out of the sky, flash flooding. This is what the Webbot reports are actually referring to, so you can see it with your eyes what it is. There's even a new term for this coined in the media, started about 2 months ago, called a rain bomb. Now this is a new phenomenon that's happening, so they need to quantify it. So they have a word for it, so you're not surprised when you hear it or see it. Grozny, Russia. Flash flooding, underground parking garages, covered in water, smashed pipes, so much water coming out, flooding shopping malls. Queensland, Australia. Somebody, right place, right time, saw this event actually starting to occur. If you would have been under there, I wonder what kind of compression event that would have been. So what it looks like when it hit the ground. Texas, United States, we'll see that same thing. You get the real heavy river effect pouring out in a single area. This would also be known as atmospheric compression events. The media, though, will call it a microburst or a deluge or a 1,000-year storm or something like this. But this is what you're seeing when you see these references in the media. Oklahoma, same thing. As an example here, Maryland, August 1st. The river was at 6 feet, atmospheric compression event happens, and it rises up to 24 feet within an hour and a half. This is the kind of flash flooding that happened in the town. All those river valleys were so inundated. This is what the main street turned into, a raging river flood basin itself. So much water came out of those mountains in this flash flood compression event. You'll start to see real dense areas on the Doppler radar. This is after the storm. This is after it stopped raining and the amount of water was draining off through Main Street here. Jumping over to a month prior, on the 22nd, you'll see West Virginia had a 1,000-year rainstorm as well. The same exact thing happened. So much rain came down in the mountainous areas that it had nowhere to go but straight through town. And with the extreme rainfall events happening across the Northeast United States, when we go into winter, and you're getting a foot of rain, that'll be the equivalent of 12 feet of snow in a single storm. Now, even with our modern infrastructure and machinery, it's real difficult to dig out of 12 feet of snow. And you also need to take into consideration food deliveries will be interrupted, power grids are going to go down, and you can see this repeated across the planet in different places. Now, not only that, but the atmospheric lightning electrical storms discharge from space. Taiwan, we had a storm over here where it had 12,000 flashes of lightning. Hong Kong, July 9th, 10,000 flashes. That was in that same storm front that came through. That was a pure electrical discharge storm. And July 31st, Yangtze River Basin, over a foot of rain, compression, not event, but a full line across there. They have lost so many crops. They have literally lost 80% of their corn production this year. All the vegetables in the Yangtze River Basin have been literally washed away. They've forbidden the media from reporting on this because they're so fearful of what comes out of the real amount of damage is going to cause people to panic because of food shortages. This was not an isolated event. This was at the end of July. And prior to that, in the beginning of July, another atmospheric compression front came through, which was the first deluge and the damaging of the crops. But it has continued and continued. And then on August 2nd and 3rd, Typhoon Nida rolls through, and those two circles where I put the black arrows, those are atmospheric compression events, rivers from the sky, that you saw over Arizona, but much, much larger. Dumping feet, as in plural, feet of rain in those same areas. This is going to get more intense as we go on. The grand solar minimum, cosmic rays create lower cloud cover, a weak solar magnetic field, which we are going into the weakest in 400 years as we progress down into 2023 and 24. From this point forward, the magnetic shield is going to weaken, allowing more cosmic rays and more cloud formations like this. I encourage you to watch The Cloud Mystery from Svensmark. It explains in great detail how the influence of cosmic rays, the feedback loop on our Earth's climate system, it's all due to these solar activity variations. There's an inverse relationship to how much low-level cloud cover there is to how intense the sun's activity is. Thanks for watching. Hope you got something out of the video. Webbots are on it, and what they're forecasting for the future is even more intensity of these events. And with this, all the crop damage that's happening, I encourage you to take a look at Trade Genius. Bob has been really digging into the grand solar minimum effects and how they're trading on the different grains and softs, specifically the China losses and how that's going to affect the rest of the world and drive prices. China is absolutely, if we didn't have an international delivery system, and if this was 500 years ago, there would be a famine in China where hundreds of millions of people would starve to death. That's how much crop damage there is this year. But with globalization, container delivery, breakbulk cargo, they're going to get through it, but they're going to be pulling out of the rest of the world's supply chain to get enough food for their people.